All right, welcome into Bear and Balanced. I'm Jeff Berckes. I am with one Mr. Jacob Infante, lead draft analyst, coming to us from enemy territory, Green Bay, Wisconsin, at the NFL Draft. Jacob, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I knew it was going to be a bold decision for me to wear a Bears jersey out in public here in Green Bay, but so far I haven't gotten jumped. So, I mean, I'm still, that's all you can ask for at the end of the day.
Sure, absolutely. Not getting beat up is a bar that you want to clear. Now, what jersey are you wearing?
I'm wearing Kyle Long right now.
Yeah, that's why you haven't been jumped yet.
Yeah, so I went through and Kyle Long was tweeting something about like, oh, Adam Schefter's wearing a hoodie underneath his suit. I told him, I'm like, hey, I'm wearing an undershirt under this and no sleeves. I'm doing just fine. So, and Kyle Long said something along the lines of I was making him feel something. So, like, a little PG-13 his response was for me. So I'm very grateful for it.
I love it, Jacob. 75 is one of, if not the best football number there is. I'm not
Of
saying that
course.
from personal experience of the number that I wore in my football career, or anything like that, but it is a superior number. It looks great on you. But
Thank
let's
you.
get into this. The Bears choose Love for their first pick. Colston Loveland, Michigan tight end. So let's talk about this. One, the Bears stick at their pick at 10. They do not trade up. They stick at their pick. They take the move tight end and Colston Loveland. So let's talk about that. They make Loveland the first tight end off the board and not Tyler Warren, one of the more popular choices among a lot of the draft guys. Where were you in terms of the tight ends, and how do you like Colston Loveland and how he fits on this offense?
Yeah, so this is an interesting pick that honestly kind of does scream a perfect scheme fit for the Bears and for Ben Johnson. So, full disclosure, I had Tyler Warren higher rated than Colston Loveland. That's something I think that he's the safer pick, the more well-rounded player. But I do think that Loveland has the higher ceiling. And when you watch his tape, you see exactly why. You see the athletic upside. You see what he can do as a pass catcher. He's a lot better of a separator against man coverage. He has the ability to work his way open against zone, find the soft spot. He's better out in the slot, better out wide than Warren, in my opinion. Everyone talks about Tyler Warren's versatility. I honestly think a lot of that is just because that's where Penn State had him. I think Colston Loveland is just as versatile and even more athletic. So I think that as far as the scheme fit goes, I know Ben Johnson was gushing over Tyler Warren in that one interview or whatever it was, but I think this is a much better one-to-one translation to Sam Laporta. Because coming out, you look at Laporta from Iowa, when he was coming out of Iowa, he was a tremendous athlete, good route runner. I think you're seeing a lot. I'm getting, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I got an audience. Here we go.
Jacob
Yes, sir.
currently getting accosted
Yes.
by other Bears fans, potentially, or
I
NFL
love it.
fans, getting his
I
opinion.
feel all right about it. Sorry.
He's
Sorry.
feeling all right. He's taking comments from the field. Gotta love it. So Jacob, let me ask this. Tyler Warren, 23-year-old prospect, a little older. You're drafting a tight end in the top 10. That's not necessarily the most traditional high return investment, but you talk about Loveland having the higher ceiling. And when you're drafting a guy that high, you want to swing for the fences. You want to swing for a guy that could reach that higher ceiling and unlock something in the offense. You said it's a perfect scheme fit. What do you mean by that? He occupies a position in the weapon hierarchy that is not currently on the roster, right? Like, so how does he fit in with DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and with Cole Kmet?
Yeah, so I'm going to be interested in watching how the Bears deploy. I think Colston Loveland's going to play a good role right out of the gate. I mean, I'd say Cole Kmet's still your traditional tight end one, but you look at it, I mean, maybe this will change with the draft pick. I don't know, but as it stands right now, the Bears haven't made a significant investment in a receiver number three. I mean, they signed Olamide Zaccheaus, who's solid. They brought in Devin Duvernay, who's more of a special teamer than anything. I think Loveland's penchant. I mean, he took almost half of his career offensive snaps out of the slot. I think that that's something you're going to see Loveland deployed out of the slot a lot. I think you'll see a little bit more 12 personnel out of Ben Johnson, out of the Bears, than maybe what he did in Detroit, even where he was one of the more uh, 12 personnel heavy offensive play callers in the NFL. So I think you have Moore as your field side Z receiver. You have Adunze as your boundary X. You have Cole Kmet as your inline Y tight, your inline Y tight end, and then Colston Loveland, whether it's, you want to call it an F, a type of guy, a flanker of sorts, or you could have, you consider him a U, where he's a mix between, the flanker or the inline sort of tight end. I think it's a good fit. I think with the personnel the Bears have right now, it makes sense. Uh, I'll admit it wasn't the pick I was expecting, but it's a pick I can look at it and be like, all right, I see what the thought process was here. So I do think that when you take a look at who the Bears have in their offensive, in their playmaking arsenal, I think Loveland has a pretty clear role, and I think he'll have the ability to contribute right away. Now, if he's going to put up Brock Bowers numbers, I wouldn't say that, but I do think he'll serve as a solid complementary weapon in year one.
So let me ask you this. You did about, I think, approximately 38,000 mock drafts since last year.
Yes.
How often were you faced with the decision of Colston Loveland, and how often did you play with that scenario, and how that impacted the rest of the draft?
Yeah, so I think that, if you're staying put at 10, I mean, I've been pretty adamant that I think there are a couple blue chip players in this class, and all of them were gone before the time the Bears picked at 10. So if you're staying put at 10, realistically, you have to be prepared for that sort of situation. Uh, I did think about Loveland a good handful of times. And, I mean, going into this, he was one of my top, if they were to stay put at 10, which obviously they did, Loveland was one of my top choices for them there. Because of the athleticism, because of the receiving ability. Admittedly, I did have Warren higher on my board, so there are some times in mock drafts that's the direction I went. But I've maintained. I've tried to make sure over the last couple of weeks I've explained that I have a higher grade on Warren because he's more well-rounded, he's more physical, but Loveland is the higher ceiling. So that it all depends on personal preference. I guess obviously the Bears went. I mean, they're betting on the athletic upside that Loveland has, the superior athletic traits, I guess you could say. So I don't know. I think it's certainly something I thought about. It was never my first choice. Admittedly, it's not the pick I would have made, but it's a pick I'm completely fine with.
Okay. So that sounds like a B plus grade for you. Does that, you kind of resonate with that?
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, I'd have to go back and look at my board to see exactly where Loveland ranked. I know he wasn't the best player available on my board, but I'm pretty sure he was top 5. So
Okay.
I'd say a B plus is about right. I'd say again, was it the pick I would have made? Maybe not, but it's a pick that I like. It's a pick I understand, and I absolutely see the vision with it. So some people are going to be confused by it. They're going to be like, "Oh no, we have Cole Kmet." There's
Different
an
position.
opportunity. Sorry.
It's a different position, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the move tight end and the traditional inline Y tight end, those are different positions. They can both be on the field at the same time. Colston Loveland does not take away from Cole Kmet. He doesn't take away from DJ Moore or Roma dudes. It's kind of like building a basketball team, right? You need a center, you need a point guard. You need those different skill sets. This is something that certainly wasn't on the roster. The Bears, in the last few years, have wasted a lot of money and a lot of time on tight end too. This is
Yeah.
a very specific. I wouldn't even call it a luxury pick. It is a statement pick for how they're
Yeah.
going to run their offense, and they're going to run this team through Ben Johnson's vision.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. You bring up the basketball argument. I look at it as this is so. As if you look at it from the Bears' skill position players, I say Cole Kmet's your center, right? He's your big body,
Sure.
get it down in the post, back to the defender. I think Colston Loveland's your stretch forward. He's a bigger guy. He's someone who can, stretch the field vertically. In this case, horizontally as well. A little bit more explosive than other guys his size. Maybe not as physical as a Cole Kmet, maybe not as strong as a Cole Kmet, but he still brings the effort in the run game, and he's got good grip strength. He does a good job of keeping his legs churning, chopping the feet. So I think that's a good analogy that I know that Ben Johnson talked about, and I'm glad you brought that up as well. So I think there is a lot of diversity and versatility in this Bears offensive weapon group, and I'm going to be interested to see what they do now that they were able to keep their 2 second-round picks. Uh, I'm honestly pretty excited now because you've got the opportunity to keep building in the trenches, a chance to maybe take a running back here. The possibilities are endless, and I know that was something a lot of people were thinking about earlier today, was whether or not the Bears were going to trade up for Ashton Genty. A con being, but they'd probably have to trade one of their second-round picks. Now you've got both of your second-round picks, and if there's a certain player that you really like, uh, who knows? Maybe we're not done. Maybe we're not done here in round one.
Well, I was going to ask you that before we let go, and certainly want to make sure that we covered the pick, and then because it'll be somewhat evergreen. We kind of come back and listen to this over the next few months, and then this is the point that's going to evaporate here, because I'm going to ask you about running backs that you think could be potential targets. Obviously, the rest of the first round is still playing out as we're recording this, but is there a guy that you think will be in that 39 to 41 range that makes sense to add to this roster?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking trenches here, honestly. I know as we've been recording this, Kenneth Grant went off the board, which I'm very happy that, I mean, for my own evaluation, that he didn't end up in round two, but I was always hoping maybe the teams would overthink him a little bit. But there's still plenty of trench value. I think the offensive line, maybe there's a Donovan Jackson, the guard from Ohio State, a Josh Connerly, the tackle from Oregon, maybe Ariante Ursary, if you want a little bit more size and power, out of Minnesota. And then you're also looking defensive line, too. I mean, Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State, I really like. Alfred Collins from Texas, TJ Sanders from South Carolina. I mean, you're going to have options there. Darius Alexander from Toledo. Maybe an edge rusher as well. JT Tuimoloau from Ohio State, Landon Jackson from Arkansas. There should be some intriguing players available in that 39 to 41 range.
All right. Well, we'll earmark those names, and we'll see what the Bears do tomorrow. If the Bears do trade back into round one, we'll hit you up again. So be responsible between now and the end of the first round there in Green Bay. Don't get jumped, and don't eat too many cheese curds. But really appreciate the time, Jacob. And Jacob's going to be with me all weekend as we roll through these picks. And take care of yourself.
Appreciate it, JB. Thank you.